Hey guys, Sean with Long Honeymoon here. Is this finally the replacement for our tow vehicle, Seymour? Find out after the break. The answer is yes and no. This is a rental vehicle. While our beloved 2007 F-250 Seymour is in the shop receiving a much needed facelift after our recent deer collision, we have a replacement vehicle from the rental company, and it is a 2020 Ram 1500 Classic with the SLT trim package and about $6,000 in various options. In this video, I thought it would be fun to compare and contrast this Ram 1500 with our old F-250 and see what has changed over the years, what I like better about this truck and what I maybe don't like as well, and how this would work as a tow vehicle for an RV. First of all, I want to point out that even though this is a rental vehicle, I actually have the original window sticker for this vehicle. That's because if you have one of these vehicles and have the vehicle identification number, or VIN, you can get on Mopar.com, enter the VIN number, and you'll get all sorts of details about the vehicle, including the original window sticker. How much do you think that this truck costs? This Ram 1500 Classic SLT Crew Cab 4x2 had a total price of $47,750. Now the base price of this truck is $40,545, but there's about $6,000 of options and then the $1,700 destination charge. But I think it's really cool that you can get on that website, enter your VIN, and get this sort of detailed information. So I can see all the standard equipment and every one of the options. Let's take a quick peek under the hood and check out the 5.7 liter Hemi engine. This is a gasoline powered engine, whereas our truck, of course, as you know, is diesel. And this engine has a couple of notable features. One is called MDS, or multi-displacement system. At highway cruising speeds, this truck will cycle down to only using 4 cylinders of the engine. But when you need horsepower and torque, it will access all 8 cylinders of the engine. So it's a pretty nice, sophisticated engine management system. And it also has something called VVT, or variable valve timing. These are technologies that weren't really available in gasoline engines back when we bought our truck all the way back in 2007. Occasionally I get asked the question, which is better, diesel or gas? And the answer really does change a little bit from year to year. When we purchased our truck, diesel fuel was cheaper than gasoline. These days, gasoline is typically less expensive than diesel. When we purchased our truck, there was no DEF, or that diesel exhaust fluid. You didn't have to worry about that sort of stuff with the diesel. These days you do. And there have been a lot of advancements in gasoline engine technology. The upshot being that this engine, this 5.7 liter gasoline engine, actually produces more horsepower than our diesel engine, although I don't believe it produces quite as much torque. I don't want to get too bogged down in the gas versus diesel question. Suffice to say that as technology continues to evolve, change, and improve, the answer changes from year to year, and it also depends on you and what you happen to be towing. So we'll talk about gas versus diesel in more depth and detail in a future video. Suffice to say that overall I'm very impressed with the 5.7 liter Hemi, and I found this truck a lot of fun to drive. And if you're not towing a huge RV, these half-ton trucks can certainly get the job done. I briefly want to talk about the exterior appearance of the vehicle. These Dodge Ram trucks look pretty clean and classic to my eyes. It's a traditional American pickup truck. You know, nobody's going to confuse this with a Cybertruck or even the new Rivian. I mean, it is a pickup truck in a traditional kind of conservative pickup truck way. I want to say something about the color. It's white, and of course Seymour is white. Did you know what the most popular pickup truck color is? White. In fact, the data that I saw in recent years, about 30% of pickup trucks are ordered in the color white. It is the most popular color of truck for whatever reason. So to my eyes, the white paint looks nice, it's clean, it's classic. It holds up over the years, it never goes out of style, never really looks dated. You can't really go wrong getting a pickup truck in the color white, in my opinion. Ah, that seems familiar. You can spend a lot of money optioning out the tailgate of a pickup truck these days with fold down steps and soft close and automatic closing. This has just a good old fashioned manual open and close. I'm personally kind of fine with that because anytime there is a motor involved and gears and electricity, it will eventually fail. It's just a question of time of when it's going to fail. I will point out a couple of the options that this truck has. One of them is a spray-in bed liner, which is definitely a very nice amenity, shall we say, to protect the bed. And it also has LED lighting built in to the side of the truck. These are pretty basic LED lights, but they get the job done, and they're certainly better than no light at all. Obviously, this truck has no tonneau cover, and I can't really figure out why most vehicle manufacturers do not include tonneau covers as options from the factory. Because I think our tonneau cover on our truck is one of the best upgrades we've made to the truck from a functional standpoint. And I just don't understand why manufacturers don't have that coming straight from the factory. This is a half-ton truck. It's kind of the equivalent of a Ford F-150 for you Ford people out there. So it's a little bit smaller and lighter weight truck than our truck Seymour, which is a 3/4 ton class truck. I find these half-ton trucks are really more livable on a day-to-day basis because they're a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to maneuver around town, easier to park. So if you're getting a truck that you're going to be using as a daily driver, there's a lot to be said for having a slightly smaller truck. Now I want to point out on the side of the truck, we do have running boards. These are fixed running boards. These days, a lot of trucks have retractable running boards that are powered and automatically extend when you approach the truck. That's really nice, but again, anything automatic will eventually fail. And I'm just fine with fixed running boards personally. Something else about this truck I want to point out, obviously it's a crew cab. I'm sure that most trucks that are ordered these days are crew cab. We have a super cab or extended cab truck. Sometimes people ask me, is it really worth getting the crew cab versus the super cab or extended cab truck? You have to decide, are you going to have passengers in the back seat very often? If you are, then I would think certainly the crew cab is the better choice. The second issue concerns storage space. And there's really no denying you get more storage space with a crew cab truck. Not a lot, but when you're traveling with an RV, every little bit of storage space counts. So overall, I gotta say, I do appreciate the functionality and the storage space of a crew cab truck. And if we were ordering one today, I have a feeling we would probably go crew cab. You can see these seats fold up and there's additional storage space here, and there's also storage space even built into the floorboard. You can pop up, and this is true on both sides here. And you can see beneath these covers there's actually additional storage underneath here, and we've got a cup holder built into the back and another 12-volt charger. Just some amenities that don't really exist in our truck. This is a short bed truck, and I think this bed may actually be a little shorter than the bed we have in Seymour. So even though you're getting more storage space in the cab of the vehicle, you may be getting a little bit less in the bed. Welcome to the interior of this lavish Ram 1500 Classic SLT crew cab vehicle. Overall, I would say the interior design of the truck is very contemporary and pleasing. I like this cabin. It definitely feels like a significant upgrade over what we have in terms of just overall comfort. It's got some amenities that we do not have. For example, this has a heated steering wheel and heated seats, probably because it was originally ordered in the great state of Massachusetts. You know, our truck is really dated in terms of the instrument cluster and display. Now, this truck does use kind of an old-fashioned key start, not as old-fashioned as our key start, but the instrument cluster is much better than our truck. It's just a much more sleek, modern display that I'm sure impresses no one these days. But if you're driving around in a early 2000s Ford pickup truck, this looks like something out of Star Trek. On the left, you have basically a tachometer showing the RPMs of your Hemi engine. And on the right, a speedometer, and of course there's a big central speedometer readout. In the center, we have an optional entertainment system. Now, we have changed out the entertainment system in our truck because the original was something out of the 1980s. So this optional entertainment center and center console is overall an upgrade over what we deal with. We have the same basic functionality because we added an aftermarket Pioneer model that has the Apple CarPlay and Bluetooth and a rear camera and all that jazz. But of course this truck has all of that stuff, which these days is kind of critically important. And it's got a lot of good storage in the center console, more storage than we have in our truck. Better cup holders and this huge center storage unit that goes down pretty deep here. And there's a secondary storage here. Even though there is more storage and this is a better, more functional center console, it's fixed in place. Our truck has an open area here in the front of the seat, and the center storage unit can be folded back. So in theory, you could have somebody sitting in that center seat in the truck. And even though the functionality of this system is better because it's fully integrated into the vehicle, we have the same basic functionality in our truck now due to the aftermarket stereo. I will point out this truck has a shift knob instead of a shift lever, and I actually kind of like this because even though it seems strange to me at first, you can just sort of crank the truck, mute the 80s music, and then dial it back and forth. And it's just very easy and intuitive. So I like that. Of course, this truck has some basic features built into the steering wheel, some telephone features, and also your cruise control. You know, because this is a smaller truck than what we drive, it's kind of a tighter feel to the interior. We have more headroom in our truck, and basically our truck is a little bit wider and just a little bit more of a spacious interior feel. And that's what you're going to get out of the 3/4 ton trucks versus the 1/2 ton trucks. I'm going to point out too, this truck has basically 2 glove boxes, which is nice. So they've added additional storage. Our truck has no storage in that area. We just have 1 glove box. But as you know, little features like that are actually kind of big features when you're traveling. This truck also has built-in AC outlet, which is nice. And as is common with a lot of modern vehicles, you have a couple of USB charge outlets. Now they're located inside this storage area, which I find somewhat awkward, but I guess they will get the job done. So up top, you know, in our truck, we have a pretty important storage area here that does not exist in this Ram vehicle. And in this truck, there's no storage, but you do have built-in lighting. And this is an interesting $200 option. It's a power sliding rear window. So for 200 bucks, you have the option to open your rear window automatically. And you know, in the 15 years we've owned our truck, we've opened our rear window maybe once. maybe twice. Maybe if you have a dog riding around on the bed of your truck, it makes sense to have the power rear window, because you can just slide it open and pet your dog. Although this truck isn't fully decked out for towing, it does have tow haul mode that would adjust the transmission shifting and so forth to optimize it for towing. And here you can see the heated seats, which are a really nice feature, and the heated steering wheel. You can also access a lot of these controls in this center entertainment system, control system display. For example, here are the heated seats here. So in addition to the push button controls, you can access many controls of the truck right through the center screen. All right, let's crank this bad boy. Yeah, it's quieter. It's a lot quieter. So there you can hear the 5.7 liter Hemi engine at idle. All of the newer trucks, including the diesel trucks, are going to be more quiet than our truck Seymour, because we have kind of the last of the noisy old diesel beast of an engine. Now, as a truck guy, I kind of enjoy the sound of our engine. A lot of people will say that the 6-liter Ford was one of the best sounding diesel engines if you're into that old school racket. But I must admit, there are times, especially when camping, when I would prefer if it were a little more quiet. So you can hear that the Hemi engine is very quiet, as you would expect from a gasoline engine these days. No tow mirrors on this truck, just regular old side mirrors. Although this truck has an 8-speed automatic shifter, I see no way to manually shift into lower drive gears. There's simply one drive gear, so that is a big disadvantage for towing. And with a turn of the shift knob, we are off for some driving impressions of this Ram 1500 Classic. This driver's seat has a power lumbar support. Lumbar support. On long driving days, those long towing days, when you're towing an RV rig across the country, really helps to have good lumbar support. So if I were optioning out a new truck now, and that was on the spec sheet, I would definitely check that box. This truck feels very well connected to the road. The driving experience is kind of like driving a sedan, kind of a tall sedan, and I mean that as a compliment. The steering feels quite connected to the road. Like sometimes with our truck, you feel like you're just kind of lumbering along in this big beast, and the steering is a little bit disconnected from the road, if you know what I mean. I actually really like the lower ride height of these two-wheel drive pickup trucks. I have no problem with cloth seats. I doubt they would hold up as well as our pleather or leather seats that we have in our truck. Our seats have held up remarkably well. I mean, for a truck with more than 200,000 miles, the leather in our seats and in our truck really has held up well. I don't know if these cloth seats would hold up so well over 15 years of use and abuse. All right, so we're gonna turn onto this road and briefly punch the gas. Feel that? Yeah. So it's really got a good bit of horsepower and torque. I believe the horsepower number's around 395 horsepower and around 410 pound-feet of torque. This is more horsepower than our 6-liter diesel, but a lot less torque. Our 6-liter diesel engine produces 575 pound-feet of torque. I like the sound of the engine too. That Hemi sounds great, don't you think? Yeah. Really does. So from a daily driving experience and a truck that you want to get out on the road and just live with every day, running around town, doing what you got to do, there's a lot to be said for these half-ton trucks. You know, these days when you're buying a new vehicle, it almost feels like you're buying a piece of technology on wheels. It's more than just a device to get you around and go from A to B. It's about how you get there. It is really about the navigation and the entertainment system and how you can power and recharge your portable electronic devices. That's something in the automotive industry that's really changed since we bought our truck. I think our truck still comes from an era when you were buying basically a dumb vehicle, not a smart vehicle, if you know what I mean. Our truck sort of comes from the flip phone era, for better and for worse. Now it is time for the critical wife test drive.
Yeah, I haven't driven this at all yet. I agree with you that it drives more like a sedan than our truck does. Like, it doesn't feel quite as cumbersome, maybe. It's definitely comfortable to drive. Some loud turn signals. You will not forget that you have them on.
It's safe.
I'll say when you punch it on the straightaway, it doesn't have that lag.
Yeah.
You know, like our F-250, when you punch it, you sort of have a moment of lag and then it sort of leaps forward, and this car did not have that. This truck did not have that. It was very smooth in the acceleration, so that's nice.
Turbo lag is what it's called.
Yeah.
There's no turbo lag
Right.
with 5.7 liter Hemi. There's no turbo.
Yeah.
Now I turned on the heated steering wheel and Christy does not like it.
Well, it's too warm outside to be using it. I mean, it's about 60 degrees outside. I don't really need a heated steering wheel at this time of day. Now, if it was 30 degrees outside, sure, I think a heating steering wheel would be great. Honestly, I think in the South, it's probably more important to have a cooled steering wheel, because when you get in your vehicle in August and, you know, it's 125 degrees inside or hotter, your steering wheel can be scorchingly hot. Burn yourself. All right, here we go. Okay. I'm not going to tell you how fast I'm going.
Pretty good acceleration, even.
Very good acceleration, and to be honest, if I didn't look down and know the speed off the speedometer, I would not have realized I was going that fast. Like, it's very solid at the higher rate of speed. It was very smooth, almost a little too smooth, because I think you could speed very easily and not realize the speed that you're going, you know? Whereas in our truck, when you exceed 70 miles per hour on the interstate,
the Geek
Geek
Squad was speeding.
That sucks.
It was speeding.
Yeah. You know, in our truck, when you exceed 70 miles an hour on the interstate, you know it. Like, you feel that you are going that fast, and that's why you don't usually go that fast for very long.
Our truck drives like a truck.
Yeah, it drives like a truck, and that's okay. You know, it when it tows, it does a phenomenal job, you know, but in the just tooling around town, this is much more sleek and easy to maneuver. In our truck, when we hit those potholes, it is jarring to your body. Like, you feel every bump, every, you know, uneven place in in the asphalt. Whereas this, it's still pretty smooth. I mean, you know, you realize that you're hitting a bump, that, you know, the road isn't great, but it's not that jarring sensation. The difference in hitting these bad patches of asphalt in this versus Seymour is noticeable.
In the back seat of a crew cab truck, it's nice having two proper rear doors if you regularly have rear seat passengers. You know, we very rarely have passengers in the rear seat of our truck. In fact, over the course of 15 years, it's probably no more than once or twice a year we might have a rear seat passenger, and it's usually for very short amounts of time. So that kind of affected our original decision to go with the extended cab instead of the crew cab. So I'm 6'2" in height, and sitting in the back seat is a comfortable experience. We have the front seat pushed as far back as it will go, and I still have a couple of inches of leg room left. So very comfortable from a passenger standpoint in the back seat. So that's it, guys, a quick look at this 2020 Ram 1500 Classic, which is Seymour's temporary replacement as he receives his new facelift. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of fun driving around in a different, more modern truck. Really, I would like to be able to get by with a half-ton truck. I think the half-ton trucks are just more livable on a day-to-day basis. It's more nimble than our truck. These modern pickup trucks are really as comfortable to ride around in as any sedan. And that's why they've become so popular. I mean, whether it's GMC, Chevy, Ford, Ram, they're all good choices. The question is what will work for you. You know, as we get closer to finding a replacement for Seymour, we may do more videos of this type looking at different trucks. We might take you guys along with us on some test drives. I think it would be a lot of fun. Until next time, I'm Sean. This is Long Long Honeymoon, the longest running honeymoon themed RV channel on the interwebs. And whoever is subscriber number 250,000 receives a free banana sticker. So subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Lo ho.